Welcome. Welcome, everyone. This is the second event of this AI Research Network. And what we are trying to do in this research network, let's jump in. We are a little late. So the purpose of this research network and research presentations is introduce interdisciplinary research happening on campus. We have great research going on related to AI, and there are a couple of different ideas emerging and infusing each other. The purpose, again, introduce these great researchers to our community and provide opportunity for other people to connect and kindle a new research idea. And we have a big goal in our agenda after generating these connections through this research network. We are planning to apply for National Science Foundations or other big grants. I just previously talked about that, but our goal to seek for at least millions of dollars of research grant. And last year, as an example, NC State University received $15 million for their Engage Learning with AI initiative. And the question, why not? We are applying similar research grants. And you may just say that, okay, this is a big goal, but I believe we can do it. We have a very nice researchers, our institution, and we have our niche as well. We are known for active engaged learning, and we can flourish in these applications. And then finally, you may ask, okay, these are the external grants, but what's going on related to internal stuff? I have some good news. We are about to release AI Pedagogy Challenge for faculty members and AI grant for staff. You can apply for AI grant. You can apply for AI grant, and you're going to receive a year subscription for the ChatGPT. For the faculty, we are asking just simple 5 questions. You're going to write how are you going to use these AI tools in your teaching, and after that, we are going to give you a year or a semester-long ChatGPT subscription. You can just start using it. There is a nice gift. Top 5 contestant going to receive special event, and they are going to present most innovative, creative pedagogy idea around late April. So this is our internal grant is about to come. Maybe this week or next week, you're going to receive emails. Please check your emails and let us know if you have any questions. So we have series of speakers. Today we are going to host Dr. Su Dong. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Su Dong, Associate Professor of Management, with a background in Management Information Systems from Management Department, where I'm from, and Operation Management, Electronics, and Healthcare Management. Healthcare policies. Dr. Su Dong brings valuable insight into evolving role in AI, especially looks at how generative AI affect business analytics as a classroom. So please join me welcoming Dr. Su Dong.
Thank you, Mustafa, for a great introduction of the Gen AI application on campus. And I believe that all of you guys use Gen AI in some ways, actually, inside or outside classrooms. So my area or my discipline that I'm teaching is called business analytics. You may have your own disciplines such as mathematics, operations management, etc. But how does that different? How is business analytics different from your disciplinary? And how would you apply your unique features for your own disciplinary studies to generative AI? And how does students actually learn about it? What about professionals in the field? So this is the question we're trying to answer. And by answering those questions, we're going to get more questions by collaborating with different disciplinary studies. All right, that's my talk today. As you can see, the impact of generative AI on business analytics. And this is an exploratory study, meaning that we're still looking for the clear pathway of the research agenda and research question. And we will use this study to initiate other collaborative studies, possibly with your disciplinary study. All right. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started with my agenda. As you can see, first part is about the evolution or generative AI development or advancement, and what are some of the most recent trends. And you may have heard of like Gen AI agents, which is a popular trend. I just attended IBM conference about generative AI, and the whole conference was dedicated to generative AI agents, all right? So you might see some agents later this year on your cell phone, on your applications that will have significant impact on your day-to-day activities. And then we will talk about what are some of the unique features for business analytics. I would say many of you have heard of data mining, business analytics, right? And it is one category into Gen AI. And how does that impact our business analytics, education, pedagogy, and et cetera? And some prior research, what has been done in terms of the impact of Gen AI, followed by our research question in this study. Then the methods, research findings, and some future research. Last part is going to be discussion with you guys. You probably have different questions than what I pose in this research. So first slide is a picture. Look at this. Have you seen this? All right. How many of you have heard of DeepSeek? Good job. All right. So as you can see, it is not ChatGPT in the hotline anymore. All right. We have competitors coming up, and DeepSeek is one of that. Let me ask you this relevant question. Is DeepSeek significantly better than ChatGPT?
How do you find better?
Great. What's your, based on your own definition? In terms of the performance?
It's cheaper.
There you go. As you can see,
Yeah, but it's cheaper, it's free.
cheaper, it's free. I have that on my cell phone application. All right. But for ChatGPT, Mustafa was really nice to give us the winners 1 year free subscription for ChatGPT. And I'm going to ask you which level of subscription that you're going to offer us. Just kidding. All right.
Not the pro one.
Not the pro one.
One plus.
A plus one. Excellent. So that's $20 per month, right? So which is great. But when we talk about the performance, it is no longer how the model is going to respond to your prompts when solving a specific problem right now. People now look at different dimensions, such as the cost, right? So meaning, are we seeing a plateau of the performance of Gen AI capabilities? In some areas, yes. But in some other areas, such as integrating of Gen AI into research, we're seeing it booming, especially in 2025 this year, because I attended the IBM conference. The whole theme was about integrating Gen AI agents into research, different areas of research. So it is going up. All right. So we also pay special attention. Yes, Dakota.
Where are you seeing it plateauing?
Great question. I don't have enough data or vision to see when Gen AI is going to plateau in, but we do see some of that happening right now in certain areas, such as logic reasoning, and the latest model 03 isn't doing much better in terms of logic reasoning. But in other areas, such as mathematics, research areas in mathematics, we're seeing a booming in terms of the capability of Gen AI. So in different areas, we have different trends. That's the reason I am focusing on the business analytics area. Great question. All right. Any other questions that you want to ask along the way of the presentation? That's great. All right. The next part is, as you can see, that is the trend from stanford.edu of the capabilities of Gen AI in different areas. And as you can see, we have different lines. The image classification has, Dakota, you asked a great question. For image classification, it has seen plateauing effect moving forward, right? And our accuracy rate is above 95, many of them actually above 97 in terms of accuracy. So will Gen AI perform much better, like achieving 100%? I don't think so. Even we as human beings, when we look at classification, we make some mistakes, right? And unless we see something called ASI, Have you heard of ASI? What is that? Excellent, which means overall speaking, AI is going to outperform we as human beings. We will not seeing some significant improvement over there. And of course, we have some areas catching up if you see that line. Competition level mathematics from 2021, that's the steep increase in capability offered by Gen AI, right? Is your department experiencing this? Or like this, visual reasoning? They pose different challenges, different questions in terms of Gen AI capabilities. Bless you. So the latest trends in AI, as I said, integration of AI agents. What is AI agents? When we look at AI, for me, because my area of expertise is data mining, right? For a data scientist, my job, I recently had a guest speaker who is the customer analytics manager at Lenovo. And his job, I would say 80% of that is actually a routine job, seeing the A/B testing on their Lenovo homepage website, and then decide which feature will attract more traffic. And with additional traffic on their website, what's going to happen to the conversion rate? We have a lot of terminologies in this field. When we say conversion rate, means the traffic is converted into purchases, right? And as you can see, majority of the task can be facilitated using AI agents, meaning that, hey, moving forward from 2025, maybe July, and that manager may no longer need to use coding in Python to complete all those tasks, but instead, he will be interacting with generative agents, saying, this is our task, please extract data from our internal database and perform A/B testing and give me the conversion rate. Because those tasks, 80% of them will be repetitive, even though it's creative, so that we can use Gen AI to help us out. Good? Thinking about my day-to-day activities, I teach, I do research, and I do a lot of routine tasks, including, my son, he plays tennis. And by the end of the week, what I do is I reviewed his videotapes, because for his matches, I take video recordings of that, and then coming up with some analytics. So our day-to-day routine may be impacted by Gen AI agents as well, because moving forward, I don't need to do the analytics tasks for my son's video footage, but instead, AI will tell you, hey, ABC, he needs additional practice for forehand, backhand slices, etc. And that's how generative AI, at least in my point of view, is going to move forward as a trend. And then we have the transformation of the coding workforce, and which is both good and devastating, because nowadays, based on some of the benchmarks, coding, especially senior programmers' role, can be replaced by some Gen AI tools. So thinking in terms of, hey, if some of the routine tasks can be replaced, what are we contributing to the field? And then, of course, development of multimodal AI models, meaning integrating different sources of inputs. We have voice, text, video, and even some Gen AI inputs. Have you thought about if two AI agents are talking to each other, how they communicate? Have you seen the most recent video about two AI agents talking to each other in their own language? Oh, that's crazy, right? Because it's more efficient than human languages we've developed so far, English, whatever it is, right? So that is the trend. And last but not least, we have AGI and ASI. And if it happens, that's going to shake our foundation for human capabilities. Now, why business analytics? As you can see, I like this Professor Vizi, and he sent out a call for papers, and I put his quote there. AI-enabled technologies have been permeating human lives and societies at a growing rate over the last 3 decades happened. And you all experienced that, especially during the last 3 to 4 years. And then they started at the mechanical task level, foundations like robotics, and then slowly made their way into analytical tasks. This is where real human intelligence shines, right? But now they're replicating our capabilities moving forward. So what can we do? Or are there any gaps that we need to actually fill as a human experts? So business analytics is defined as data analysis and the use of statistical models and to predict business trends and outcomes to help us to make decisions. Good? So what are some unique features that nowadays, look at the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index. 66 starting scores. Are they getting the scores close to 100? Close. They're getting close there. But there's still a gap, at least for now. How do we work with Gen AI to achieve that 100% capability? Because currently, Gen AI isn't able to actually replace we as human beings, but even though in certain tasks it is, right? Simplistic tasks such as image recognition and etc. So here is the gap. As you can see, 66 is the maximum score that we got. And this is based on different dimensions. We have artificial intelligence analysis combines metrics covering different areas, which includes image recognition and etc. The unique features for business analytics includes it will help us to make a data-driven decisions based on large amounts of data in terms of their difference in the data quality, and also you probably have heard of dirty data, right? Meaning that we have lots of missing values, skewed inputs, and mistakes in the data, and also large amounts of unstructured data, text, images, pictures, and etc. And then understand and predicting business trends, behaviors, and operations. And this is very different from pure programming perspective because computer science create programs to accomplish one task and automate that task. But data mining is slightly different. We interact with data. Business analytics interacts with the data. But before that, we have 6 phases for data mining. And guess what is step 1 of 6 phases of data mining or business analytics? Mustafa?
I was about to say cleaning and getting data.
Wow, that's step number 3.
Figure out what you want to look for.
Thank you. That's called business understanding. And then after we understand the business problem, which is human intelligence, right? And computers or Gen AIs are tasked to complete certain tasks. But we, as experts, are here to find problems to solve, which is a unique contribution here. That's number 1. Second is the data understanding, because data are dirty. Not only dirty, but it's context specific. Meaning that computers, Gen AI is capable of understanding what the data are, but hey, what is the meaning behind the data? What does the code 0 in your gender stand for, right? And those types of information is embedded in the context where we as humans really shine through. And then we have explainability. We have a model. We know that AI is capable of giving us some output, but how do we explain it? What are some factors impacting the performance of those models? And interpretability. Last part is customization and domain-specific models, because again, it is about the domain knowledge. For example, I am creating my own application to help my son improve his tennis. So how can I understand his performance? Gen AI will give us improve his forehand, backhand, but I know more than that because I know the trajectory of his growth, which is embedded in the context that is not showing in any of the data can be found about his playing styles and stuff like that, all right? Great, so let's look at some prior research about using Gen AI or coding assistant finished the task 55.8 quicker than those without it. it's helping us, yeah. And Mustafa recently actually sent a LinkedIn article saying that Gen AI is capable of helping us improve the productivity in most areas, which is great. So we're working with Gen AI on those aspects. And then ChatGPT can be effectively utilized to develop and rectify code and formulas mock text questions. But one key fact here is AI exposure reduced productivity inequality. What does that mean? There you go. Your own level of expertise no longer plays an important role based on this study. Many of the expertise can be replaced by Gen AI capabilities.
In regards to that, doesn't it take like someone with expertise to, I guess, determine whether or not the output that AI is giving you is correct?
Great. That is exactly what I am studying in this research. Thank you for the great heads up for the research question, because, Gen AI is prone to hallucination issues, right? Most of you are aware of that. And sometimes if it doesn't know the answer, it'll make up an answer so that it looks like it is correct. It is us as experts in the field who decides if it's correct or not, based on our own knowledge and justification process. Great. Thank you for the question. All right. The last part, that's Mustafa's research area, where Gen AI enhances creativity but reduces novelty, and which is a very famous study. I really enjoyed reading that article. Thank you for sending me that. So there is a research gap. That's what I am researching. So limited research examining the impact of using Gen AI on performing business analytics specific tasks. When you look at the measurement metrics for Gen AI, it is mostly targeting reasoning tasks, writing tasks, image recognition tasks. But my area is called business analytics. Your area might have some unique features that you should specialize on, right? So we expand that focus area. And no study examined task complexity for various business scenarios, because what they have is they have a bucket of questions sent to AI for them to tackle. But what if AI couldn't fix that? Did they do any follow-up test on those questions? They stopped there. If Gen AI couldn't finish those tasks, that's a failure, correct? So that is what we call 33% on my first chart of the AI capabilities. Questions? Great. So I then present my research question aims at shedding light on task complexity. When we talk about task complexity, I'll give you specific examples. On the performance improvement in business analytics tasks, and explore additional dynamics in the process of human and Gen AI interactions. You probably have heard of HCI, which is human-computer interactions, but nowadays we have human and AI interactions. The capability of utilizing AI as a tool will significantly impact the performance for business analytics tasks. But how? And what other factors to consider when we conduct research like that? Okay. Let's look at the setting. So it is in-class projects. Basically, we have students majoring in business analytics at Elon, and what they were given is 2 sets of tasks at 2 instances in time. The first one, as you can see, during 2 sessions, the first one, they need to actually complete without ChatGPT or Gen AI assistance. And we actually capture the scripts that they used when they prompt the ChatGPT to give them the answers. And the second time, they were given another 2 sets of different tasks, varying in terms of complexity. And then they got the help from ChatGPT to tackle those problems. And for each project contains tasks of high and low complexity. I'll give you examples here. The low complexity task is you are given a data set. The data set contains information about housing like what we have in the neighborhood of Elon, right? The housing prices for those homes, and information such as number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. And also, we have information about the time series data, and their task is to predict the home prices based on the data set. Okay. That's the simple task, because number one, they are familiar with the setting. Number two, the data is very clean because it's a clean data set. And number three, the model is actually given to them. This is the easy task, one example here. And what is a complicated task? Okay, that's when we actually shoot in the dark, all right? So we have a real data set on data.gov, which captures the information about EV, electric vehicles, in the state of Washington. Good. The data is dirty, meaning that it contains mistakes. And also, it has many columns or fields in this data that has errors, not only missing values, but errors, such as their base MSRP for a lot of EVs are set to be 0, but instead, it should be a specific value. Okay? And then they are given this task to use the data set to create a model to predict the price or MSRP based on a given data set. Information includes the EV mileage, includes the neighborhood that the registration happens, and a lot of relevant information included in the data set. In this data set, all right, as I explained, dirty data, complex understanding of the settings, right? And also, they don't know which model to use. AI will actually give you the response if I would like to use multiple linear regression to do this task, but it doesn't propose any other things than the one you asked. So we, as human experts in data mining, will pick the one that performs best, also fit the scenario so that we can explain, hey, if your EV mileage is long, such as Tesla Model 3, right? We call it the extended mileage for Model 3. The price or base MSRP is going to be more expensive than Nissan Leaf because of the EV. That's one reason. But there are many other factors we as a human experts should adopt to tackle this problem, right? Such as, I'll give you two more examples here. The brand of the electric vehicle, right? Is it actually qualified for tax credit or not? Will impact the MSRP, right? Two additional examples. And again, it comes from the data, but we have to interpret that. How did my student do in those tasks at 2 instances in time? Anybody want to take a guess? Did they do well when they have the help from GenAI?
GenAI may help for the simple task. Maybe it increases their, but it depends on how you define the performance, am I right?
There you go.
If it's efficiency, maybe it makes the process much easier to get the results. But if it's accuracy or different measures, you may have a different conclusion.
There we go. Let's look at this chart. So we have two lines. The dotted line is for the complexity is low. And of course, we have the first column is actually no GPT, right? And low GPT, no GPT to GPT, we see both of them actually improve in terms of the accuracy, which is measured by the score that they got from those tasks. Improved, but what's more interesting? Which one's seeing more significant improvement? Exactly. For low complexity tasks, they see significant improvement if they use ChatGPT. But for complex tasks, especially when the setting is complex, a lot of knowledge is embedded in the environment, in the data set that cannot be derived from the data set itself. That's when our human expertise will play an important role. Their performance doesn't improve significantly as compared to low complexity tasks. Have you ever seen such trend in your class when students use ChatGPT? Yes?
Yeah.
Oh, great, excellent. Do you question this, hey, is ChatGPT being a tool adopted in my class, such as calculator? What is the difference between ChatGPT and the calculator in this class? I would assume that most of us allow the use of calculators in your class, right? But do you allow the use of ChatGPT in your class? What is the difference? What if, in the final exam, you mandate them that do not use ChatGPT? Do you see a drastic drop in their performance? Is the learning happens within ChatGPT, or are your students learning how to interact with ChatGPT? Yes.
So, as a follow-up question, did you measure the post-treatment in your case? It's kind of relevant what you're talking. Maybe you're just setting up this study.
There you go. All right.
Post-treatment going to be after the ChatGPT use, without using ChatGPT, did you see some improvement for students' outcome?
Great, excellent. So this is exploratory study, and I was actually planning to do that. And at the same time, I would like to pose some of the trends we've observed from qualitative studies, which is a survey I posed after students, how they use it, what's their interaction, and how do they rate the use of the ChatGPT, and can it be replaced? Got another question there. Yes.
I was just going to ask, which model was used, and if they were allowed to use web search or any tools like that.
It's ChatGPT when they actually have a problem, right? Especially the data mining tasks, they can copy and paste whatever question they have into the ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is going to give them a code back to tackle this problem. But they are assessed based on their response to the question, meaning that not only the code matters, but also the interpretation matters as well. Another question. It is the non-paid version of the ChatGPT. Yeah. That's, again, my future research question.
Did you adjust for knowledge of ChatGPT by the students first?
No, I did not actually adjust the knowledge of ChatGPT capabilities or prompt engineering knowledge before they use this one. So this is based on before we actually discuss anything about this.
And if you just have randomized trial or random,
It is.
then you just kind of controlling for confounding factors by itself. So I believe that's going to pass that several background check. Am I?
Right. Yeah.
I would be curious, I use this in my class too, and I'm shocked at how many people don't have the paid version. I think one student out of 45,
That's right.
and some don't even know what a prompt means.
Absolutely right. That's the reason our department is proposing a Gen AI class to help students to understand, because in this decade, if you don't know how to interact with ChatGPT or generative AI, then we are behind the game. Yeah, great feedback. Any other questions that you have? Great. So my next slide will be even, I'll think, more interesting. As you can see, how many prompts they entered into ChatGPT on average. For low complexity tasks, they entered 6.1. And for high complexity tasks, they entered 12.4, as you can see. And they also have some irrelevant ChatGPT feedback because the question that they raised or they asked ChatGPT is inaccurate, or prompt engineering wasn't in place. And the ChatGPT didn't actually give them any relevant feedback. If you add them up, you realize that which one is more efficient. If you take the ratio, of course, the low complexity task is more efficient in terms of the effective feedback provided by ChatGPT. As the task gets more complicated, the communication efficiency drops significantly. Wow, this is really interesting. And I didn't have that slide because it's not statistically significant, but I do observe that people with more expertise in this area tend to use ChatGPT more effectively. Meaning that really our knowledge matters. Interacting with ChatGPT and also solve the problem itself. So I would like to replicate the study to get more statistical significant value to report it. But this is some interesting findings. After this, I sent out a survey to my students asking them to provide feedback about your interaction with ChatGPT to solve the business analytics problem. And these are some samples. And I would highlight that this slide is positive examples. All right, I'm gonna read through that. ChatGPT was able to help me complete the task. However, if you don't have a good understanding of the code, it won't help, which is why I was unable to complete number 5. This helped because at points I would type in the question then in R, and it would provide a way to do it. I would use portions of the code provided to help me answer the questions at hand. Basically, slice of the ChatGPT prompt will be helpful if we can decipher what is provided, right? Your knowledge matters. And the next one is some, I would say, negative ones, and you might be surprised. ChatGPT was relatively frustrating when completing the exercise because it did not have access to the actual data set I was using. So it was unaware of which columns had non-numerical values and which columns to exclude from the PCA and KNN. That's the terminology we use in data mining, right? And then I had to fix several issues with the code, and it still produced a result that seemed very strange. Perfect accuracy. When we have perfect accuracy, what does it mean? There you go. Data leaks or overfitting. Yeah, which means part of your predictors, part of your clues are already included in the answers. Right? For example, you have a multiple choice question, and when we have perfect accuracy, it means, hey, those choice A, B, C, D already contains which one has the correct answer. For example, the correct answer is always highlighted in yellow. If you give those questions to your students, they don't need to know the knowledge itself, right? They just pick the ones being highlighted in yellow, meaning the answer itself already contains the information. Good? Understand that example? All right, great. From this feedback, qualitative feedback I've collected, I think it is good to conclude that there are certain patterns of Gen AI usage, at least in business analytics. The first one is actually called expert substitute, meaning that they try to use Gen AI to substitute their own knowledge, and it was unsuccessful. Many of them actually shared the concerns of the incapability of Gen AI in business analytics tasks because of the reasons we described earlier. And then additional resource, meaning that can you give me some background information about EV cars? It is very good in terms of providing additional resource for the background information of the problem. Thumbs up. And coding helper, great. We have evolved a lot since when I conducted the research. All right, so the coding nowadays is equivalent to a senior software engineer, at least at Google or fan companies. And then the last part is AI rejector, meaning that they don't want to use AI because their interaction with AI isn't that successful. So that's how I'll summarize the interactions I've observed with Gen AI usage in the class, also business analytics professionals on campus. And to sum it up, task complexity plays an important role in shaping our interactions with Gen AI. Many of the tasks been benchmarked on different databases have varying level of complexity, but when we come down to the actual scenarios, it's a different story though. And then limitations and the role of human expertise. We as human, at least at this stage, still plays an important role in tackling business analytics problem. Each disciplinary study is very unique and very different. So that's the reason why, thank you, Mustafa, for organizing this research discussion. And some future research directions, as you can see. piggyback on your question about which version of ChatGPT, paid version or non-paid version, and is it O3 or is it O4, right? And I haven't tested yet, but I can definitely test on those different facets of task complexity. And there are task complexity itself is multifaceted, meaning that interaction with the data, missing values, and the problem structures, and the sequence of analysis. In business analytics, it's a multifaceted problem as well. Then human AI interaction qualities, such as prompt engineering. Do they have any expertise in prompt engineering? Will shape the interactions as well. What about over-relying on AI for classes? So by the end of the semester, if I give them a problem without the access to AI, what would it like in terms of their performance? So go back to the rudimental question, are they learning or are they learning to work with AI? And then that's the last part, learning objectives for those classes. AI is part of us now, and how do we integrate that in our curriculum? And how do we use AI to facilitate and enhance learning instead of impeding the learning process? I think I'm almost on time. 1 minute left. All right. The remaining of that will be Q&A.